The thing I can say about this review is initially I wasn't super high on Warren. It was a thing where I was watching, like, okay, a lot of the yards are easy yards. I wasn't really seeing much nuance to the route running. So I know the YouTube portion off the jump is typically the free part, but if there is a review that you want to come and check out the full thing, it's this one because it gets a lot better late. And if you don't want to subscribe to the website for $5, $6 a month, you subscribe to just the YouTube for $3 a month, and you get all the reviews free. This is one that you 1,000% should watch until the end because the end is where you really feel out kind of where he is as a prospect. The beginning, it's more I'm not gonna say it's more bad than good, but it's more so than in the end of the review. In the end of the review, you see a lot more nuance in the route running. You see just a lot better play towards the end of the review with Warren. So just a little disclaimer at the end of these reviews too, for the people who do subscribe, you get a full list of strengths and weaknesses that I formulate, and a lot of it you're gonna see in this exact review. So I'm not bullshitting you. A lot of it is quite literally shown in these plays, and then I make a list of exactly where are the areas that he struggles and where are the areas that he obviously excels at. So starting off with this play, this one's pretty simple off the jump. It's just a screen to the tight end to Warren number 44 here. And I did this quite a bit. So let's watch it. Some just good athleticism from him. The thing I could say at the NFL level is typically you're going to have guys sell that a little bit better. He takes two steps to the outside, doesn't really throw a block or anything like that, and looks right back for the ball. If 40 with a little bit more awareness, he's probably driving down on that a little bit quicker, but it's not really the point of it. The point of it is just the adjustment to the ball. Quarterback has to throw the ball high, right? Because there's defensive lineman in his face. Warren's in a spot where now he has to find that ball, tip it up to himself, catch it, kind of in a traffic situation with initially with one hand, and you're talking about how many guys to bring him down, and you're talking about him having no momentum here, right? He gets a step of momentum, breaks one arm tackle, spins him around. Another guy comes in, breaks that tackle. 92 comes in, stiff arms him, breaks that tackle, and then one finally brings him down. But you're talking about four tacklers in about 2 seconds there from Warren. So obviously we like athleticism, him able to grab that ball, and obviously just the fight for a couple of extra yards from him. Um, right there on that play. Next play, we have Warren, good block angle, shed though. So the thing with his blocking is people call him elite. I think that's quite a reach. I think he's average to solid. Elite is definitely a reach. You'll see throughout the review, the efforts there, the angles are there. He has to clean up some things in his blocking. But he's definitely not elite. So I want to clean that up. And clear that up. And even though I do like him as a prospect overall, I've been hearing some of the elite blocking stuff, and it's just not necessarily true. I believe he just kicks out 35 right here. Let's watch him. So there's a few things we do like from this play, and he gets shed, but he gets shed late. Obviously, he opens up big enough holes, so it's definitely a nitpick to even say he gets shed there. There's a thing he could do right there to hold that block a little bit longer, and really that's just getting instead of driving the defender flat like he did right there. You kind of want him to work his hips up the field a little bit in front of this guy instead of driving him flat because he drives him flat, he can spin out of it. Whereas if he stays more upfield, he's just going to push him completely away from the play. That's again a total nitpick because he does get past the guy, right? The running back gets past the guy. Now the things that we do like in terms of this block is coming to the block controlled, lowering his center of gravity, right hand into the chest, working off of the insteps of the feet. Again, the middle of your foot, you want it turned. You don't want to be over the balls of your feet. Your knee is a natural leverage point, so you want to work against that. So turning your foot doesn't let your knee bend as easily, so they're not able to drive you back as much. So good job working off the insteps, getting hands on, and then driving him out of the play. We also like the control he comes into this with. Again, close that ground, runs his feet as he's coming into that contact window to be able to adjust to angles. And the other thing we like too is he's not oversetting this. He's not getting too flat. He's taking it from a nice inside out angle, right? This run obviously wants to go inside. He wants to kick him out, so he doesn't want to get too flat here and have this guy cross his face. So I like the fact that he's patient, inside out angle. Again, lowers the center of gravity, gets the hand inside, and drives him. So good kick out block right there from Warren. Could clean up a tiny bit again, just staying on that block for half of a second longer. Again, you have to evaluate. Like this is West Virginia, I believe. Maybe it's a different team. I'm not the best with colleges. But NFL level, does that guy maybe shed that to get back in on the play? That's kind of how you have to look at stuff. It's a projection, so you can't just look at him necessarily dominate a college guy and be like, okay, well, that's going to definitely work in the NFL. You have to um, kind of figure that out for yourself. So Warren, catch up seam, show eyes. This is a pretty easy one, I believe. It's just a very little detail that I like that he does here, and it's something that makes quarterbacks comfortable throwing the ball to receivers, tight ends, running backs, whatever it may be. But just something as little as this makes an impact for me, and it's something that I'll put in the strengths and weaknesses. But once Warren releases into the seam, obviously you have play action here. Warren is releasing into the seam right here. And there's plenty of guys who, whether it be the linebacker carries them or not, or whatever the deal is, there's plenty of guys who will just run this route and not necessarily look back at the quarterback immediately. They might take an extra, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps, an extra couple of yards, and then turn their eyes. But when you show the quarterback like this, that hey, I'm looking for the ball, I'm open here, it makes the quarterback, more comfortable to throw it. Now he could have thrown this regardless, but it's a little tidbit that I like from Warren that as soon as he sees he's open, the linebacker gets into an exit angle. He's not covering Warren. There's no safety immediately over the top of him. Show that quarterback, hey, I'm open. I'm ready for this ball. The quarterback puts the ball on him. He picks it up, an extra, or he picks up a, whatever, 20 yards or so on a seam pass. But just little things like showing your eyes are important. I believe that was 22 yards. So this is some of the blocking stuff that we have to go over in terms of like, okay, he's an elite blocker. Again, I will push back on that. I think average to solid, and he's a want to guy. He has the strength to do it, so he could be developed into a good blocker. I wouldn't say he's a good blocker at the NFL level now. I think if you called him average at the NFL level, that would be kind of where I would place him, and maybe even a little bit below at first because these guys are a lot bigger at the NFL level, better technique and that stuff. But I think he could be a good blocker at the NFL level. But to say right now he's an elite blocker, again, it's a very very big reach. So 44 right here. Let's watch him overset a little bit on this block. Okay. We talked about it with the one play where, he had good technique. He took an inside out angle. When you're this tight to the E-maul, the end man on the line, what you want to do is, and obviously it's dependent on the run, but for this run specifically, you're going to want to, just like that last play, when you're trying to kick this guy out, you want to get more vertical and then outside. And I'm not saying necessarily like boxy. We don't want to go like 3 steps vertical, 3 steps like that. Like it's not you know, he's not a knight on a chessboard, but you want to take a higher angle here instead of a flat angle. Flat angle, risk your face getting crossed. Gets too flat, big steps, right? You want, especially the first about 3 steps of the run game, you want to be very small because you're reacting to movement, and the bigger the step is, the less reactionary your feet can be, right? If you're taking a large step like that, it's going to take you a lot longer to react to movement and get back inside. So we want smaller steps. We don't want a flat angle. We want a higher angle inside out. Again, overset, too flat, big steps, barely gets a hand on, actually gets a hold here, which I don't think it gets called, and the tackle is made, right? So got to be better there with just understanding our angles in the running game, and how to block that play up. Okay. Warren, most of the yards are this so far, 3 games in. And I highlighted this because a lot of the plays I was watching initially were just all easy yards, easy yards, easy yards. Again, later on in the review, my opinion of him completely changed about his route running and how he was getting open, all that stuff. The first couple of games, it was all easy yards. And you'll see that here. I just put a quick example in. There's really not much to explain on this one. He's right here on the line. Believes he just releases up into the seam. We have a blown coverage right here. I don't. It looks like it's man and man. There's somebody supposed to be over the top of Warren, or maybe somebody blew a coverage, but Warren is absolutely wide open in the seam. Easy touchdown. And at this point, I'm watching like, okay, like yeah, he has the body to block. He's not the best blocker. He's getting a lot of easy yards. I see the physical upside, but I'm not super high on him. Again, we have another bad one here. Again, I will remind you for the people who are going to comment on YouTube, hater or whatever, it gets a lot better than this, a lot better throughout this review. I believe he's right here attached. Yeah, gets shed in the run game, lets up a tackle, right? A few things just in terms of the blocking technique, and there are two major flaws in this play from Warren. One, what do we have? Look at the hands. We got wide hands landing onto the elbows. You're not going to be able to control a body like that, right? We want nice tight elbows, into the chest. And obviously, if the run is even going opposite here, we probably want, right hand into the chest, left hand over the top into the shoulder to torque him away from the play. Both hands land wide. Now you're giving up chest control. He gets splashed. That's the term we're going to use. He gets splashed into the chest. What's the second big problem here? Ducking the head, right? When you're ducking the head, you're bending from the waist. You want to be linear when you're blocking somebody. You really want to be able to get into a nice line, drive through your feet up and through the defender. We don't want to start bending from the waist. When you bend from the waist, you're kind of taking away from your lower body, or the strength in your lower body, just because now it's driving, your leg strength is driving up through your hips, but now you're taking it away by bending. Whereas if you're linear, you're really able to drive through the ground. As soon as you start bending your waist, it's all upper body. It's not going to be through the legs. So two major flaws there in the block from Warren. Again, hands wide, ducking the head, isn't able to stay in front of it because he'd need, now if this was Will Campbell and he can just grab a guy, and torque him outside, fine. But it's really going to be hard when you give a guy your chest and you start ducking your head. So that's what happens here. He gets splashed. Guy reads the run, is able to push past Warren because he doesn't have good hand placement. Lets up a tackle, right? Don't want it. Sorry for some of these plays being a little bit laggy at first too. I think he gets better. I cleaned up some stuff, I think, after a couple of these reviews and got it. This one started a little bit late. My apologies. One-handed needed. These are just things I look out for, and there are some guys who are going to catch balls with one hand when they can really have two. So just a little question I brought up with him. He's right here. I believe he's running a wheel. I think he ends up by the sideline. Yeah, so we have double post with the wheel behind. So you have the quarterback probably one, two, three. Get to Warren. Now, obviously, again, a nice catch, and sorry for the lagginess on this. I remember that this being just, and some college film you get is just laggy. So it is what it is. But nonetheless, in a situation like this, when he's tracking the ball, now obviously, nice catch, right? Like we see the body control, we see the athleticism. Is this a ball that he could catch with two hands? 1,000% it is. And people are going to say, "Oh, well, why do you care? He caught it." Again, it's to me, it's process versus results. You're not going to make this catch. You can make it 80% of the time, but if he were to look this over his shoulder or even jump and grab it with two hands, your success rate is going to be higher nonetheless, whether it be 5% higher, 10% higher. There's really not a need to catch this with one hand. It's pretty unnecessary. Now, great catch, looks awesome, but let's say he were to drop that, people would be like, "What the hell? Why is he trying to catch it like that?" It's definitely a play where you're looking at it. He could catch it with two hands, whether it be over the shoulder, again, tack it with two. Not necessary to catch with one. Looks nice, but something that I bring up. Obviously known to be a little bit nitpicky, but if you drop that, people be like, "What the hell? Catch it with two hands." And again, back to the personal story. That was one of my problems in high school when I was playing running back and receiver. I tended to want to catch stuff with one hand, and it obviously led to more to more drops. And it's something that you just have to actively think about. So, Warren TD pass here. So with Warren, he was used all over, whether that be attached to the line, isolated as a Y split, whether it be Wildcat, whether it be running back, fullback, H back. He was used quite literally all over the place. And one of the things that Penn State did do with him was use him as a Wildcat quarterback. And how often this is going to happen in the NFL? Probably not often. Maybe not even at all. But at least it's an option. Maybe Engstrand can work this in once every 3, 4 games. Something. So right here, and obviously the shotgun set, but it's he's the quarterback here. Let's see what happens. you know Now, not necessarily the craziest play in the world. Looks like we got a run pass option. Looks like he might be reading one of the linebackers. There's supposed to be a pass, the entire time. Now, I don't know if he gets lucky here and he just throws it past the guy in the flat, or he just chucks it up, and it's relatively lucky, I would say. The defender's looking back at the ball and just completely misjudges it, and it goes behind him. So let's give Warren credit here and say, oh yeah, he knew that this guy was going to get too flat and not judge the ball right, and he puts it right past him. Fine. touchdown pass for Warren. Just trying to, show some of the versatile ways that he was used here. We do have, yeah, we have run block. He looks like an RPO. Um, and he would be obviously the runner here because you have two kick out blocks, and then maybe again he would have taken a lane there, but he wanted to throw the pass. Again, probably relatively risky, right? But still. So Warren Pancake question mark. Um, I don't remember all the plays. I don't know why I put the question mark. Maybe he trips over a guy. I'm not sure. Again, when I record these plays, I watch it once or twice, and I'm like, okay, I'll talk about it on the show. So let's watch. He's attached right here as a Y. See what happens. Okay, yeah, I don't think he tripped. Um, The one thing you're not always going to win hand placement. Now, we don't necessarily want this hand to land on the elbow like it does. It doesn't land onto the chest. Now, ideally, what we do here, especially if the run is going to be going opposite of you, again, in terms of ideal hand placement, you want to get that right hand nice and tight into the pec, and you want the left hand to come over the top into the whether it be the shoulder or into the ribs. And you want to control them with this hand, push them back a little bit, and then drive them away from the play. This hand again does not land, and again, it's not always going to land. It's hard to always do that, but we have the two lateral steps to get in front of it, so that's good. We don't want him to. We don't like in this play. We don't want him to get vertical first because if he gets vertical first, then guess what? This guy has play side leverage on him into this gap, and we don't want that. We want him to undercut him and win that play side leverage. Now again, gets hands on. It's obviously impossible to tell where his left hand is. But ideally here again, he flips his hips and starts to work his hips up the field in front of him. He's not able to. Again, whether it be, his chest is controlled or whatever it is, you have the defender who starts to drive inside, but looks like the left hand is into the chest. Warren continues to drive the feet, pancakes him, right? So not working from an ideal spot in terms of that right hand being a little bit wide. But we like the fact that he fights through it. He stays attached. He's working off of his insteps initially, you know, maintains contact with that left hand and just drives him vertically and takes him out of the play. Pancakes him. It's obviously a good one. Let's watch again really quickly. Good. Wildcat touchdown from Warren. Okay. Again, we have him as the quarterback right here in a gun set. Let's watch it. Again, just showing some of the versatility that he has here. Some of the athleticism. Again, you have to remember he's what 6'5", almost 260. I think it was what I said 256 before. But right here now um, we have we have one back quarterback power. Everybody blocking down. You have the guard coming around and leading, right, kicking him out. Now Warren sees a situation where okay, all have play side leverage. This guy's getting kicked out. You have 260 pounds versus 25 in a hole. 25 looks like he's probably, breaking down right here to expecting to get trucked over. Warren sees him going low, hurdles him. You know, he knees him in the head, but that's about it. Good job by Warren just reading that. Now, if he was a little bit higher, maybe he just trucks him over, but because he's going low, okay, I'm gonna jump over your ass. Jumps over his ass for a touchdown. Fun stuff from Warren. But again, just the versatility and the way he was used is obviously great, right? So Warren crack pancake, not a pancake sprinkled with crack, just I guess a crack block pancake. So I'm assuming he's gonna block three right here. Let's watch it. Yeah, so you see some of the strength, right? And again, I'm sorry for the lagginess of some of these plays. I apologize. You could still get the point. I did clean some stuff up after this. I don't know if it was my computer. Some of the college film I was getting during this was all choppy. So it is what it is. It's better than not getting it. The NFL film I've been getting is a lot more clean. But nonetheless, for Warren, obviously, guy doesn't see him. But what do we like? Nice and low, nice tight elbow angle, right? We don't want the elbow wide. We want the elbow nice and tight. You're stronger. You're stronger like this than you are like this. Your elbow flared out. You're losing some of your strengths. And nice tight elbow angle, working into the ribs, into the center of gravity. A little bit higher than the center of gravity. Obviously, the hip is, but I always say anywhere from the hip to the ribs is a nice area to attack when you're trying to cause displacement or really crack a guy. Again, nice and low. Rolls his hips up through it. Extension. Pancakes the dude. Right? Buries him. Again, choppiness at the end. My apologies for that. Okay, moving through. Warren contested. Um, right here. Let's watch it. It's running it out. And again, not crazy, not a leaping, not a leaping grab or anything like that. Closes ground. Obviously, has to get to his out quickly. Break, drive, line, gets over it pretty nicely, nice and tight within a yard and a half. Yeah, yard and a half ish, 2 yards. Um, Obviously has outside leverage on the defender. Quarterback puts it in a really good spot. Extends to the ball, looking the ball in with the defender, draped all over him, and he makes a makes a nice contested grab. The defender plays it pretty well in terms of, hey, I'm gonna get that left hand onto the hip to turn his body, punch through it. But Warren does a good job of one tucking the ball away from him, and then again just having the ability to bring it down in a contested catch situation. So um, it's a good job from Warren. Warren Veer read. Okay. So again, he's at quarterback again, running some veer, right? So everybody's gonna block down. This is a conflict defender. If he pinches down hard on this, you hand the ball off. If he just maintains where he is now, he gets he